Hey guys, and welcome to a new Nashville Masterclass. I am your host, James Leopold the Great May. Make sure you please like and subscribe, leave comments. I know in my first videos, I would say how much I hated doing that because I hated when other creators would ask me to do that in their videos. And what I've come to discover is after you put so much time and effort into your videos and, no one likes or comments on them, it makes you, wonder why you're even doing it to begin with. So it's something that I will make sure I do for other creators from now on. Today, we're going to tackle the subject of what the big book and AA have got wrong. Now, first, before you decide that you want to sacrifice me to the ghost of Bill W., I want to say that I'm not against AA or NA. I don't think it's a failed program. I certainly would have never got sober without AA, but there are some very glaring deficiencies. Now, there are a lot of people in the world that look to AA and Bill W. and the Big Book as gospel. I understand it, but it's not. They were human. They were not infallible, okay? And why the very basics remain good practice into today. That book was written almost 100 years ago, and they could have not foreseen what is happening in the world today. So let's get to it. Now, have you ever watched a movie where you got some nerdy kids and for whatever reason, something happens and one of them becomes popular, right? And then they start treating their old friends like crap, and you hate them. Well, when you get sober, I've seen this with a lot of my own friends, and I was like this for a while. You were put down so much as an addict, and now you're not. So now you say things on Facebook about these people that don't have jobs, these junkies on the street, the homeless, the people on methadone, on Suboxone, and you laugh at them. If they really want help, they could do it. If they really wanted to change, they could, because you did. Let me tell you something. Just because you got sober gives you absolutely no right whatsoever to make fun and talk down to people that are still suffering. And in the same vein, I think it is a huge mistake of AA and NA to keep out people that are on Suboxone and on methadone. How many times I've seen on a Friends of Bill W., an AA Facebook page, where people think it's hilarious to share memes about people on Suboxone, on methadone, thinking that they're sober. Do you know what that does to a person? Let me give you a scenario. So, this person has been using drugs for years, and they pushed away, I'm going to get that dog, and they pushed away from getting clean, so they finally get on the methadone clinic, they finally get on Suboxone, and they're really proud of themselves. For the first time in their lives, they are doing the right thing, and they are just taking the medicine as prescribed. We're not talking about people that go on these medications and are still using. And the clinic they go to recommends going to meetings. And when they do, they hear a lot of talk. people making fun of people on methadone and Suboxone, seeing these memes on Facebook. What do you think that does to a person? You think they're going to go, well, I guess I'll just get off this tomorrow. They say, well, you know what? I tried so hard, and I guess I'm just a failure. I can't do anything right. Because I've heard it over and over. I don't care really what your experience is. I do care, but this is the thing. Just because you went through something and succeed doesn't mean the other person can. What I'm trying to say is we don't know where anybody else is on their journey. Of course, the end goal is to have them clean off everything. But not allowing them to go through the steps, I think, is just patently wrong. It's just patently wrong. Why are they going to want to try to go to AA if they feel rebuffed, if they feel that they're an outcast? I thought the whole goal was to save people. But when they say if you can't follow these steps, in essence, there's something, wrong with you. You could do this if you don't have these, terrible mental disabilities. I mean, come on. And if you really wanted to save people, you would try to include them. Are you trying to save people, or are you trying to just show everybody how sober you are? Reward yourself. They have people sponsoring others. These sponsors have been in the program 5 months. I'm not saying that. I've seen people do this. And when they are below 2 years sober, they are constantly, almost every time, they relapse. I know they told me, 5% of people make it to a year, and then half that, 2 years. But then they also say, just follow these steps. Anybody could do it. What I'm trying to say is there's a lot more that could be going on. And at the time the big book was written, there was not an epidemic like there was. There was not people dying left and right every single day, all the time. The drug problem was nowhere near as big because they weren't as badly regulated as they are now. The more you try to regulate narcotics, the worse the problems become, right? So there are people want to think, I've always heard, no matter what, the principles are still the same. Yeah, the principles are still the same, but the culture of AA and NA is way too far behind the times, trying to exclude these people from going through the steps, trying to push them because they're not really sober yet. Who are you? I mean, you think because you're clean and went through the 12 steps that now you're just blessed with all sober knowledge in the world? Nobody is. I'm not. And how many, if you say you haven't, then you're lying. Anybody that's been in AA for years knows there are so many people, 5, 10, 20 years, and they relapse. It definitely happens. It's not something that's even rare. It's not something that's even rare at all. It happens all the time. So nobody's infallible. No one is the great sober guru. Nobody ever has all the answers. And everything's in flux. The things I'm saying today will one day be different and change through the course of history. Anybody that tries to write something down and say these are the rules and it forever be like that are trying to fool themselves and trying to fool others. Another thing is apart from getting your coin every year so you can show others that it can be done, there's no reason to care about how many years sober you are, because here's the straight fact. It doesn't matter if you've got 20 years and this other person has got 5 days, you're still the same amount of sober. There is no difference. You have some experience, but when you get down to it, you're not any more sober than anybody else. And here's another thing. These people that say, I am done. If you put some dope in front of me right now, I would not do it. Those are the people that I promise you 100% of the time are definitely going to relapse. It's the people that say, I could relapse at any time. I know the girl in Dope Sick Nation said that. I've heard it a lot of times. It's what I say, because anybody that thinks that they've got it, that they know for a fact from now, it's not even the dealing drugs, it's not even an issue. It's crap. They've just been away from the insanity for so long, they really and truly think that. And they really think that. I mean, it's not that they're fooling themselves, but in the day-to-day process, they would think that they could easily say no, but they don't know. They don't know. Anybody, it doesn't matter how long you've been sober, anybody can relapse. And people, if you were on opiates, benzos, alcohol, and walked into an NA meeting and needed help, they would say, sorry, come back once you've gone through the withdrawal. That doesn't help. There needs to be a system in place, some numbers to call, some people to reach out to for these to help people. I'm only one person, and the people who come to me in the comments, email, and they need help, I'm going to find a way to help them. And I'm just one person. I'm not going to say, well, I'm just here for informational purposes. I can't help you. This was supposed to be about helping everybody. This isn't supposed to be a badge of honor. Look how sober I am. This isn't a special club where if you follow our rules, then you're sober. If you don't do what we say, then you're not. And it's something that needs to change, and we all know that happens. I know a lot of people, a lot of my friends that left AA for that reason, said it felt like a cult. I'm not saying it is, but when you blindly just follow something that was written almost 100 years ago, you can easily look at it and tell what things are good, what work, and is very glaringly those things are wrong about it. They need to be fixed. There needs to be a system put in place for today's problems. For people on meth, on these psychedelics, research chemicals, all the different kind of opiates that are out there, with the specialized research chemicals and strong opiates and benzodiazepines. We're seeing, and tranquilizers, we're seeing withdrawals that weren't even thought of back when the big book was written. They weren't even thought of. And I know that through my channel, come heck or high water, I'm going to start doing something. If people want to sit there and tell me I'm wrong, that I don't know what I'm talking about, how dare I compare myself, let them. Because people said the same thing to Bill W. when he started. Who am I? Who am I? What do I know more than these other addicts? Get to know me. Ask anybody that knows me personally and knows my whole history. They'll tell you why. I don't have all the answers. I don't need people to worship me. I don't need people to think I'm infallible. I don't need people to follow my rules. It's not rules I'm looking for. It's a code of conduct and a code of integrity and honor to help your fellow man instead of making these boundaries. Boundaries do need to exist, but some of them do not, and they are just there put in place to say, hey, look what we did. We're the good guys. If you wanted what we had, you would try. Obviously, you're not trying, and you don't want it that bad, which is ridiculous because people are dying. Well, I hope I survive the night. After this, Lord knows I might be drawn and quartered at the next AA meeting around here. So I am going to try to hide out. I'll see you guys on the next one. Thank you very much. I hope you like and subscribe. You better, or I'll strangle you like I really will. I'll choke you.